From the Detroit River in Detroit, Michigan, it's round 2 of the Air National Guard Hydroplane Series. Today, it's the 2011 APBA Gold Cup. Hi, everybody. I'm Bill Weber. Thanks for having us in for the race. And it's not just any race. The Gold Cup is the Indianapolis 500 of boat racing. Before the season starts, ask any crew member, what are the team goals? Number 2, win the championship. Number 1, win the Gold Cup. They've been chasing this thing since 1904. The legendary Chip Hanauer won it 11 times. Dave Vilwach has won the last 3. In fact, Vilwach is tied for second in Gold Cup wins with the late Bill Munsey, 8 apiece. Vilwach and Munsey are also tied in career wins with 62. Today, Vilwach hopes to unlock both those ties, but he's got a long way to go. After the first 2 preliminary heats, just 500 points, leaving him below the cut line and out of the final. My partner, Mike Allen, is with the defending Gold Cup champion.
Thanks, Bill. Dave, it's amazing the team is even here this weekend in Detroit.
Yeah, it was a lot of hours by a lot of us, and actually Ed Cooper and his whole team really helped us, and you can see all the damage and all the parts we had to build and all of that. We got here and qualified well, but then we blew up a gearbox, and so it's been a roller coaster ride, but we're here and we're still trying to make it into that all-important final.
Let's take a look at the format for making the final. Qualifying points do count. 4 sets of heats this week, and the final field is set by total points accumulated today. Now, let's go through the field for an update, starting with the number 1 team, Oh Boy Oberto. They have hired John Zimmerman to replace the injured Steve David. They decided there was too much damage to their boat, so they have leased the boat for the Gold Cup this weekend in Detroit.
It's not going to behave like the boats I've driven in the past, so there's going to be some adjustment to get used to it.
Well, John qualified the boat 5th at 149.1 miles per hour and finished 4th in both of his first 2 heats. Moving to the 5 boat of Jeff Bernard. He qualified 2nd at 156.663 miles per hour. And in his first 2 heats, he had a 3rd place finish and a victory. A good start to the weekend for the Graham Trucking team.
I'm happy. I knew we were past. The first heat we kind of let slip away, but we're not going to look backwards. We're going to look forward. We got a race boat.
Jeff's rookie teammate, Scott Liddicoat, has been most impressive, qualifying 3rd at 153.073 miles per hour and leading much of Heat 1A in a deck-to-deck battle with J. Michael Kelly, only to lose the lead at the last turn.
But no doubt, Bill, one of the best heats of the weekend, and Scott did a great job.
That's one of the best heats we've seen all season.
Could be.
Scott then showed some of his inexperience when he was penalized for pushing Brian Perkins wide in Heat 2C. A loss of 150 points, but still an impressive Detroit debut. J.W. Myers and the 11 Peterson May boat struggled in qualifying, but did score a win in Heat 1C and a 3rd place in Heat 2B.
We're just happy to be here, happy to drive it back. All the parts are still on it, and, you know, we're just going to continue being cautious.
The 17 boat that Kip Brown drove to 2 heat wins last week has an interim driver this week. It's veteran Cal Phipps.
Kip had all their obligations. He races a national mod and a 5-liter, and he's really, really good in those 2 classes. It's an inboard class, and he had a big national event there at Black Lake in Washington. So Cal Phipps is here driving an International Guard boat. Cal's really a good driver, too, as well.
Cal qualified 4th and has a win and a 2nd place finish so far this weekend here in Detroit. So a good run for that team continues.
The 21 team and Brian Perkins have rebounded from the incident in Madison with a 7th place qualifying effort and a pair of 2nd place heat finishes.
Brian Perkins off to a good start here in Detroit, but I know a lot of your thoughts are with some of the people in Madison.
Yeah, last weekend we keep getting updates every day, every morning, actually 2 or 3 updates a day with the people that are in the hospital and out of the hospital. The whole team, everybody here is thinking about them. That's our primary concern right now, as well as trying to race a boat.
This season continues to be a struggle for Mike Webster in the 22 with a pair of did-not starts in the first 2 heats. The core of the problem is recurring engine issues as well as a lost propeller.
Meanwhile, Mark Evans and the 57formulaboats.com were certainly exciting in the early heats, but the results were not quite what they were hoping for. A DNF and a 3rd place has them sitting last in the event point standings. Detroit seems to suit the degree for men 88, as J. Michael Kelly's 6th place in qualifying has been followed up by that win over Scott Liddicoat in Heat 1A and a solid run to 2nd place in 2B.
The 88 team has to be happy with their performance this weekend for being on the water for the very first time.
That boat has really looked good. They struggled in Madison, but have performed well here. For Greg Hopp in the Al DB Dodge 100, a slow qualifying pace has been offset by a pair of steady runs in the heats. So here are the point standings after the first 2 sets of heats. Cal Phipps leads the way, followed by J. Michael Kelly, Jeff Bernard, Greg Hopp, and J.W. Myers. Now let's take a look at this demanding Detroit race course. The Detroit River is 32 miles long. The river divides the major metropolitan areas of Detroit, Michigan, and Windsor, Ontario. Today, we're only concerned about 2.5 miles, but it can be very treacherous. One wide sweeping turn, one very tight turn. Here's a driver-driven tour of this course.
Well, I just got lucky on Thursday. I got to go out for a ride with Mark Webber. He took me around the river on a pleasure boat with Jeff Bernard, and they showed me a couple of the tough spots.
It's very different than any other race course. It's got the smallest turn in all of racing, and it's got the biggest turn of all of racing.
He's going into the first turn over in the Whittier turn, they call it, the Belle Isle turn. The waves can be pretty rolly with the shallow water here, so there's a couple critical areas you got to watch out for.
You got a big, real big dog leg on the backstretch. When you come out of turn 1, you're actually aimed right at the DYC, and then midway up the backstretch, you just start going left.
Once you get by the yacht club, driver has to pay attention because there's bumps, there's rollers, there's high winds, and you got to get your boat under control to go into this hairpin rooster tail turn. Getting through the rooster tail turn here is usually pretty tricky to get through efficiently.
If you go and ask any driver, this is one of the, our favorite courses to run. It's a real racer's course.
It's a real fans course, too. They love boat racing in Detroit. And the hydroplanes for Heat 3A are heading out. Gold Cup racing when we come back.